Have you ever stopped to think about the quiet wonders woven into every moment of your life? Think about how complex each breath you take is, how clearly your eyes see the world, or the thoughts that zip through your mind. All around us, a bird builds its nest with the skill of an engineer, a flower gently opens its petals to greet the sun, and an ant colony works together with a kind of teamwork that would make even the most organized armies jealous. We're told that all this complexity, the amazing order of life, is the result of evolution. But what is evolution really? Is it, as some suggest, a blind and random process? A series of lucky accidents that stumbled along for millions of years to create life as we know it? Or is there something deeper going on? Could evolution be a complex, guided system, a way of creation that works under a really smart intelligence? This isn't just a science question. It gets to the heart of how we understand what it means to exist. Take a moment to think. What's the most complex thing you own? Maybe your smartphone or your car. Did it just put itself together by accident? Did atoms of metal, plastic, and silicon just bump into each other for millions of years until by luck a working device appeared? The idea sounds honestly silly. We know for sure that behind every complex design, there's a designer. Every working system comes from a plan. So why, when we look at something much more complex, like the human eye or the genetic code, do we so easily accept the explanation of pure unguided chance? The real question is simple. Can a process without a mind create a mind? Can a process without a purpose create beings full of purpose? When we look at the world with an open heart and a curious mind, patterns show up everywhere. We see rules and systems that control everything from the way planets move around the sun to the beat of our own hearts. The idea of random evolution suggests that these systems are just a side effect of the messy fight for survival. It asks us to believe that the perfectly tuned rhythm of life, like hunters and their prey, flowers and bees, mothers and children, is nothing more than a random show. That the universe's song is played by an orchestra without a leader, without music notes, and without instruments. Just noise that somehow turned into a beautiful song. Is that a logical conclusion? Or a leap of faith in the power of disorder? This is an invitation to think differently. Not an attack on science, but a welcoming of a deeper logic that science itself shows us. We will look at the evidence not as a random bunch of facts, but as clues that point to a bigger story. We will explore life's blueprint, the hidden smarts in our bodies, and the perfect balance between living things and their surroundings. Together, we will ask logical questions and look for answers that make both our minds and souls happy. Let's begin this journey of thinking, this search to find out if the amazing fabric of life was woven by a blind weaver or by a master creator whose wisdom is clear in every thread. Take a moment and look at your hand, 5 fingers, each with a purpose. Now, imagine a bat's wing, a dolphin's fin, or a horse's leg. At first glance, they seem completely different. One for flying, one for swimming, the next for running. But underneath, their bone structures are amazingly similar. This idea is called homology. Across thousands of vertebrate species, we find the same basic design: an upper arm bone, 2 forearm bones, a group of wrist bones, and 5 fingers or toes. Each perfectly made for its job. A hand for grabbing, a wing for flying, a fin for swimming. Is this repetition just a lucky chance? The result of random separate events that just happened to find the same solution? Or is it proof of an intelligent designer, a master architect using one clever blueprint and changing it for every need? Think about a car maker. They don't invent the car frame from scratch for every vehicle. They use a good platform and then change the body, engine, and features to make a sedan, an SUV, or a sports car. That's smart design. That's being efficient. This idea of a single blueprint goes far beyond bones. Look at the most basic processes of life. The way our cells divide, how they make energy through cell breathing, how genetic information is coded in DNA and turned into proteins. These are almost the same in all living things, from simple yeast to complex humans. The genetic code is a universal language. The molecules we are made of are basically the same. Such amazing sameness doesn't point to a messy trial and error process, but to a basic system, a set of rules and parts that were set up from the beginning. It's like all life is built from the same set of cleverly designed Lego blocks, arranged in endless patterns of beauty and usefulness. Now, think about how an embryo grows. From a single fertilized cell, a process unfolds. Cells divide, move, and become special, guided by a complex genetic program. Tissues and organs form in a perfectly timed order. The heart starts beating at just the right moment, neurons connect, eyes take shape with their complex lenses and retinas. There's no room for mistakes. The smallest slip-up would be a disaster. Can a blind, aimless process achieve this level of exactness again and again in billions of organisms over millions of years? That's like expecting a handful of sand thrown into the wind to form a perfect sandcastle every time. The evidence for a master plan underneath it all is huge. It's like the creator made a master template for vertebrates and then, with divine wisdom, changed it for every living space and challenge. The eagle's wing and the human hand are not the result of two separate random journeys that amazingly ended up with similar structures. They are different versions of the same idea, changes to one brilliant concept. This is not the mark of chaos, which would leave a trail of inefficient, ill-fitting solutions. This is the mark of a single, organized, and smart mind. A creator who is both an engineer and an artist, painting the amazing variety of life with a consistent, purposeful set of colors. Let's dive deeper, from the visible patterns of life structure to the amazing dance of how it works. This is a place where things are so complex and work so well together that it can't be just by chance. Think about your body. It's like a whole universe of systems, all working together perfectly and quietly. You never have to tell your heart to beat, or your lungs to breathe, or your stomach to digest. These amazing things just happen on their own, guided by a hidden intelligence, working hard all day and all night, all without you even thinking about it. Let's look at something simple, like a sneeze. A tiny speck of dust gets into your nose, and right away, a whole series of complicated things start to happen. Nerves send urgent messages to your brainstem, which then quickly puts together a powerful, super-fast response using your diaphragm, your chest muscles, your throat, and even your eyelids, all to get rid of that tiny little thing that got in. Is this just a random thing that happened over time? Or is it a really good, pre-planned safety system made just right to keep your most important parts safe? Now look at your immune system. It's like an invisible army, a security team, and a cleaning crew, all rolled into one. It has memory cells that remember bad guys from before, like a watch list for threats. Its frontline soldiers eat and destroy germs, while special B cells shoot out targeted antibody missiles. What's really amazing is that it can tell the difference between your own cells and bad ones almost perfectly. If it messes up here, it can cause big problems. Can such a complex, smart, and flexible defense system really be the result of countless random changes? That would be like saying a country's entire army and spy network just appeared by chance, with no leader, no plan, and no one working together. This hidden smartness also shows up in how nature is super efficient. In a well-made system, nothing goes to waste. Every part has a job, and there are no extra pieces. In nature, you won't find a fish with feathers or a bird with gills. Every feature, from a bird's hollow bones for flying to a camel's hump for living in the desert, shows how perfectly efficient things are. Randomness is messy by its very nature. It leaves behind useless parts and clumsy solutions. But the living world is a display of beauty and smart design, where everything fits together and every function works its best. This brings us to a big question. If evolution is truly blind and random, how did awareness come from stuff that isn't alive? How did a mind come from things that don't have a mind? It's the biggest puzzle, like expecting a computer made of metal and silicon that don't think to suddenly write its own programs and become aware of itself, all without anyone programming it. The smartness we see in how life works is just a reflection of a deeper, original intelligence. Maybe in every heartbeat and every breath, we see the mark of a mind much bigger than our own. But perhaps the most amazing wonder of life isn't just how it works, but how it talks. Life isn't a silent movie. It's a living, breathing conversation full of messages, signals, and codes that reach across the whole animal kingdom and even the plant world. Take the honeybee, for example. Watch their fancy waggle dance. Every spin, turn, and wiggle is carefully planned to tell their hive mates the exact direction and distance to a hidden field of nectar. This isn't just random movement. It's a secret message, a language written in movement. You could say they have their own dancing with the stars for finding nectar. Or listen to the deep ocean. where whales and dolphins talk to each other over long distances. Their haunting songs, clicks, and whistles each carry a special meaning. They identify each other, share where they are, and even work together to hunt. Every sound has a purpose. You could almost say they put on their own ocean concerts with deep meaning. Even plants, which seem quiet and still, join in this conversation. When a leaf is being eaten by an insect, the plant sends out invisible chemical signals into the air. Nearby plants hear the warning and start their own chemical defenses to get ready for the coming danger. This isn't just a simple reaction, it's coded information, sent and received, a plant broadcast, like an invisible plant WhatsApp. And the wonder goes even deeper. Every single one of these systems needs a sender, a message, and a receiver. For communication to work, both sides have to understand the code. In human experience, language is always a product of intelligence, a mind that chooses, creates, and means to share meaning. We Germans know how complex language can be. Just think of our long compound words. So how did these complex languages come to be? Could it really be that random changes just happened, not just to create the ability to send a signal, but also, by pure chance, the ability for another to receive and understand it? The chances are super tiny. That would be like winning the lottery, only much more unlikely. And at the heart of it all is the language of life itself. DNA. This four-letter code forms words and sentences, instructions and blueprints, all packed into a tiny strand. It's not just a saying. DNA is a real digital language that stores and sends information with a level of exactness and density that makes any human invention look small. This is like the blueprint of life, but much more advanced than any technical drawing. Wherever we find codes and languages, in computers, in books, in art, we see the mark of intelligence. Is it so hard to believe that the greatest code of all points to a super author, a master programmer who fills our world? It's like a masterpiece by Goethe or Bach. You immediately know there's a brilliant creator behind it. A breathtaking harmony runs through the fabric of life, a seamless match between living things and the worlds they live in. This isn't a rough guess. It's the result of precise, complex tuning. Take the woodpecker, a marvel of engineering. With each strong peck of its beak, it handles physical shocks that would knock out any other animal. Yet the woodpecker doesn't just survive, it thrives, thanks to an amazing set of adaptations. Its reinforced skull, a special tongue bone that wraps around its head like a built-in seatbelt, and spongy tissue that acts as a shock absorber, all work together to protect its brain. The beak sharpens itself, and the tongue, barbed and incredibly long, reaches deep into tunnels to find hidden insects. Every feature is carefully made for one purpose: to become the master drummer of the forest. Let's go from the forest to the ice. The polar bear is a masterpiece of design for life in the world's coldest places. Its black skin takes invaluable heat from the sun, hidden under a thick layer of hollow, see-through hairs, which traps insulating air and scatters light, giving the bear its camouflaged white fur. A thick layer of fat provides extra insulation and energy storage. Its wide paws spread its weight like snowshoes, while rough pads ensure grip on slippery ice. This isn't a random collection of helpful features. It's a complete survival system where form, function, and environment are in perfect, harmonious balance. The polar bear doesn't just live in the Arctic, it is the Arctic. This idea of harmony is everywhere. For fast fish, streamlined bodies glide easily through the water. The eagle, with eyesight so sharp it can spot prey from miles away, is perfectly equipped for hunting. The desert cactus, with waxy skin, deep roots, and water-storing tissue, is nature's answer to constant drought. Biology textbooks often say this amazing fit comes from natural selection. But natural selection isn't a creative force. It can only pick from what's already there. It's a quality checker, not an engineer. So, who is the engineer that presents these clever designs for approval? The idea that random changes in a highly complex system could put together such perfection is deeply troubling. Imagine randomly changing a line of code in complex software or moving a wire in a car engine. The result is almost always a crash, not an improvement. To believe that a series of unguided random changes could create the shock-absorbing skull of a woodpecker or the advanced insulation of a polar bear requires a leap of faith bigger than science can support. The amazing harmony we see in nature doesn't point to blind chance, but to an underlying intelligence. one that knows the needs of every environment and perfectly adapts every living thing. As we follow the elegant blueprints and harmonious designs of life, we come across a deep paradox at the heart of our universe. Physics teaches us, if left alone, everything falls apart. The second law of thermodynamics, the law of entropy, says that in any closed system, disorder always goes up. Sandcastles crumble, metal rusts, and stars burn out. Order turns into chaos, never the other way around. But when we look at life, we see the impossible. Order comes from chaos, complexity builds on simplicity, and complicated systems appear where there should only be randomness. A single cell organizes trillions of atoms with more precision than any machine made by humans. DNA stores huge libraries of information that guide the building and keeping of whole organisms. From the ashes of old stars, life puts molecules together to make sense, function, and beauty. How do we solve this contradiction? The theory of unguided evolution asks us to believe that against the constant flow of entropy, random changes and blind chance built the masterpieces we see in nature, layer by layer, code by code. But that's like expecting a hurricane to put together a jet engine from a junkyard, or waves to carve a violin from driftwood. You could also say, that's like expecting a monkey to write Shakespeare. Order doesn't come from chaos without guidance. Tools don't build houses, they need a builder. Evolution isn't the craftsman, but the chisel, guided by a hand, shaped by a mind. The laws of physics might allow for complexity, but they don't create it. They are the canvas, not the artist. This is the big paradox. The universe tends toward disorder, but life is the constant exception. Every heartbeat, every unfurling leaf, every gust of wind through a bird's wing is proof of a deeper order, a purposeful intelligence that brings harmony from chaos and meaning from matter. At the end of all our questions, we find ourselves in awe. Not just a quick moment, but a deep respect that grabs hold of our heart and mind. Hidden patterns show themselves beyond what our eyes can see. Harmonies appear that are bigger than what we can understand. And a quiet wisdom shines in every leaf, every star, every breath we take. Life isn't just a random dance, but a symphony. Each of us is a tiny note in a grand song, led by a hand that works through everything. Where everything came from stays a puzzle, a mystery that can't be fully answered. And yet it's this very mystery that calls to us. It invites us to feel awe, to think deeply and to be thankful. Maybe the meaning isn't in understanding everything, but in watching closely, in being amazed by what is bigger than us. Here, the circle closes. We are woven into a tapestry whose patterns hold wisdom and beauty. We are threads in the fabric of creation, lit up by a light that never fades. By accepting what we don't know, we find a deeper meaning. Not to solve every puzzle, but to stay in awe, to value the gift of being here, and to see the gentle presence of mystery in the very heart of life itself.